Are live. Awesome. Awesome. So hello, everyone. Thank you so much for coming out today. And happy Halloween for those who are in the US. Today's microlearning is on how to achieve all of your goals and dreams with accountability partners with Albana, Theka, and Marie-Hélène Kennedy-Payen. So lovely seeing everyone today. Love seeing everyone in the Zoom audience. And thank you for everyone who's watching this via live stream on LinkedIn, YouTube, X, Facebook, etc. We want you in the conversation as well. So interact with us in the comment feeds. If you want to ask a question or if you want to make a comment, please do so in the comments. We are actively reading those, your feedback. Wherever you might be, whether it's the live stream or the live Zoom audience, I want you to please introduce yourselves now, your name, what city you're coming from, and a favor to ask to help more people. If you're watching this right now and you are on a platform, if you can like, comment, and share, because that's how we, get the algorithms to share this with more people and we can help more people along the way. Your interactions really help us. Once again, our community of 7 microlearnings are really focused on helping listeners achieve a specific goal, to elevate their mindset and skill set by bringing in leading authors, executives, coaches, founders, and subject matter experts. Our goal is really to democratize leadership development for all, because I know I didn't have the access to leadership development much, later in my career. And, that's why we make these microlearnings open and free to the public, free on YouTube as well. So make sure you go to our YouTube channel, Community of 7, and sign up there. And I want to thank all of our Community of 7 core members and supporter members who support these talks with your membership dues. If you're interested in being a member, go to our Community of 7 website. For those who are in the live Zoom audience, if you feel comfortable, please turn on your videos, because I know for me as a speaker, it makes it so much easier when I see your beautiful faces and your, your smiles, etc. So before we start, I'm going to post 3 questions. Give me 1 second. Okay, I'm going to post these questions right now for you who are watching this. And I want you to answer. Oh, sorry. Give me 1 second. Okay. Okay, now I am going to share it to you in a second. Okay, right now. Okay, you guys see this questions? Okay, so in the comments, I want you to answer this. If you are watching this via live stream on LinkedIn or YouTube, I want you to answer in the comments as well. So the first question is, what are your 2023-24 goals? What are your 2023-24 goals? Put it in the chat, and I'm going to count down and we're going to answer at the same time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, press send. I know for me, one of my 2020-23 goals is to get we're moving our community page for LinkedIn onto a more interactive site. So we're relaunching that. So I'm really excited about that. So let us know what your 2023 goals are, Matthew. Building your personal brand. I love that. Working towards a DABT toxology certificate. That's amazing. Andra, to graduate university with the 1st grade. Yes. Bridget, to establish an academic coaching business and rebuild my personal brand. I love this. Katie, have the biggest sales month yet. Woohoo, I love these. Okay, the second question to answer in the comments or chat, wherever you're at. Who is your support system or new network you want to access? Who is your support system or new networks you want to access? So if you don't have a network, then who are the people you need to connect with? So for example, I'm relaunching my community page. So I've joined different or like a membership kind of communities that just focus on creating these membership communities. And we are kind of each other's support group. Let's say you want to exercise. Do you want to join the road runners, etc.? Let us know in the comment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Press send. And let us know what's your support system. So Matthew started a new company last month. So he joined different employee networks to meet new people. That's a great idea. Some of you might be joining a gym, right? I know for me, I wanted to get back into exercising a little bit more because I saw myself kind of slipping. So I joined New York Sports Club. And I started doing the group exercises. And I usually, as an introvert, hate group exercises. But just knowing that there was a class and I had signed up basically kind of helped me motivate myself. Okay, and the last question you can just kind of answer, do they share the same goal? Do they share the same goals? So type that in and then press send. Awesome. And I love Andra says she's going to lectures and staff from the university. Awesome. Okay, super. So thank you so much for, kind of chiming in with your 2023-24 goals. I think there's something about, verbalizing your goals that make them more real, make them more tangible. And I know sometimes, being as a solopreneur, if you're starting something from scratch, it can get a little bit lonely, right? And I think one of the biggest disservice we have as a society, or especially in the US society, which is a little bit different than other parts like in Asia, where we really focus on that whole notion of succeeding on your own, right? The self-made man, or woman. And I think that's a disservice because no one really does it alone. And I think this is why today's microlearning on how you can really achieve your goals with accountability partners with Albana and Marie-Hélène is really powerful. So I think we have all done or been a part of an accountability partnership at some point in our lives, whether we knew it or not. Think about, when you were in elementary or high school or junior high, where you had maybe a group project, or you wanted to run the marathon, and so you had a running partner, or you joined road runners because you needed that accountability. This morning, for those of you that came early, I kind of mentioned about how I went to my daughter's, they have a parade at her elementary school. And I went there and I ran into my good friend, Avina. Avina is one of my dear friends, and she's a neighbor. And I just remember during the pandemic, I had just gotten laid off from Fortune. I was depressed. I, like most of us, were trying to just survive, the first few days of the pandemic, raising kids, homeschooling, trying to navigate, life during this period. And I had gained a lot of weight and I was just feeling really sluggish. I wasn't taking care of my health. And I remember telling Avina, and she was like, tomorrow we're going to go running at 5 a.m. We're going to do it every day. And I was like, no, we're not. And she was like, yes, we are. And she literally texted me 4:45 and she's like, I'm outside of your door. And we literally started running every day during the pandemic. And just that, having that person just kind of be accountable to, like, there's days where I didn't want to wake up. There's days where I wanted to press snooze. But because I knew that she was depending on me, it just made it so much easier to do the uncomfortable, hard thing, if that makes sense. Could I have maybe through sheer effort or drive ran on my own? Yes. But was it a lot easier because I knew she was there with me? 100%. And so I also think about the process of me writing my book right now, which is going to hopefully be out in 2024. And I remember wanting to quit probably a half a dozen times. And my friend Mina Malik, who just released her book, make sure you go get it. If you know, it's a Wall Street Journal best selling book. I have it somewhere here, but it's an amazing book. And I remember her calling me and saying, you know, you're going to write that book. And so I had all of these accountability partners, from Hussein to Megan Jimenez, Eric Severson, Van Lai Dumont, all these people during those periods where I wanted to quit, get on the phone with me and just told me, you have to stick with it. I recently posted this African proverb that I think is really powerful. And it's something that I remind myself once in a while. You know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. And I think about my entrepreneurial journey, right? When I was first launching Community of Seven, I met monthly with Tracy Admin from Troop HR and David Berkowitz from Serial Marketers. And so I think this conversation, I think, is really going to be helpful, especially for those of us, because you all know that I'm an introvert, that I tend to try to do things by myself, right? When I first launched Community of Seven, I was able to launch so fast because I literally did everything. I posted, I was the person posting, I was the one that built the website. I did all of these different things. But there comes a point in your journey where, in order to grow and in order to get to the next level of where you want to be in life, you need other people. I have Regina, who helps me out with like my social posts and all of these little logistical things that I can't do on my own. Like, at some point you can't, if you want to grow a business, if you want to just grow as a person, you know, you need to lean on other people. So before I introduce Albana and Marie-Hélène, let us know what you're looking for. Like, if you are looking for mutual accountability partners, let us know in the comment or the chat, or if you're watching this on the live stream, in the comments. For example, if you're looking for a training buddy, if you're looking to start a business and you need to launch a website, if you're looking to eat more healthy, whatever that thing that you want this year coming up into the new year in 2024. And if you're looking for a mutual accountability partner, because if you don't already have one, maybe we can help each other, right? Because I know for me, I've been kind of trying to connect with other people who are in the same part of their journey, trying to create like these communities online, right? So let us in the chat, press send, and maybe you can find your new mutual accountability partners. So let me now pin Albana. Give me a pin. Okay, and then Hélène. Okay. Oops, sorry. I got a pin spotlight, everyone. Add spotlight. Okay, there. See, I'm doing it on my own. I probably should have had Regina help me. So
Great.
You learned. Okay. So I'm so excited to introduce Albana Theka. She is the Senior Director of Data and Analytics at New York City Health and Hospitals, where she leads corporate and financial analytics. She has over 12 years of experience in finance, operations, and strategy leadership roles. She is a champion for women in finance and tech. She's a mother of two and a passionate vocalist. She brings a unique perspective to the world of mutual accountability partners. And next we have Marie-Hélène Kennedy-Payen. She serves as a Senior Director of Operations and Community at New York Life Ventures, New York Life. Her career journey includes stints at international banking and the not-for-profit sector. She's a devoted mother of two. Marie-Hélène is exploring her green thumb right now and nurturing her homegrown herb garden in sunny Florida. So welcome. Hello, ladies. So glad to have you here. And I'll also note, I met you guys through one of our first, when I first had launched this whole community of 7 micro learnings, you two were one of the first to attend, right? And I just remember like vividly just going through that whole period and seeing your beautiful faces, kind of similar to these calls. And then Marie-Hélène later joined one of our core groups, and Albana is as a supporter member. So glad to have you here. First, maybe we'll start off with maybe Albana, and then Marie-Hélène can kind of chime in. Tell us a little bit more about yourself beyond the CV. You guys have an incredible kind of work history, but beyond that. And tell us about how you two met and became mutual accountability partners for each other. And if you can kind of just define what the heck is a mutual accountability partner.
Yeah, sounds good. Thank you so much, Lan. Thank you for having us here. Like you mentioned, it was through the community of 7 that we met you. And I feel like I owe a lot to Marie-Hélène because she's introduced me to so many things in my life and my career. And I am so grateful that she's my accountability partner. And a little bit about myself. I actually migrated from Albania at the age of 17. So I came here on my own. I was an exchange student and initially lived in Kentucky for a year. I finished my high school and then I moved to New York City where I did my undergrad in IT and then I did my MBA afterwards. My career led me to work in a retail bank initially, and then I moved to the healthcare industry where I worked in finance for 12 years. And currently I lead data and analytics. And all of these is important to note because all of these transitions and pivots in my life happened because I was able to meet people, women, men who supported me along the way and made it possible for me to make a career transition or be successful in my journey. And then I am also, in addition to that, I am the president-elect for the Financial Women's Association, which is an organization, a nonprofit organization for women in finance, one of the largest actually in New York City, although we are going global. And through this organization, I met Marie-Hélène. And how did I, a little bit about how I joined FWA, or the Financial Women's Association. I was working for my prior employer for 12 years. And I had an amazing mentor and supporter, this woman, her name is Susan. She was my mentor, my supporter, my ally. She helped me break into middle and senior level management. But then after a long period at my company, she decided to leave. And so I was left with, with no support or, my biggest ally left the company. And I found myself really not knowing anyone externally outside of my company. And I wanted to meet more people in my area and my line of work. So I Googled women in finance at the time, and FWA came up. I signed up. And Marie-Hélène, I got my first welcome message from Marie-Hélène, who was the Membership and Engagement Committee Chair for FWA. We had one phone call, and somehow I felt very connected with Marie-Hélène. But I'd love for her to tell her journey so that you all can understand how much in common we have as individuals and how that helped us come together and become accountability partners.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Albana. You are going to hear a lot of commonalities as I'm going to share a little bit of my story. So I grew up in a bicultural family. So on the other side of the pond, as we like to say here, I was born and predominantly raised in France. And I also grew up in Scotland. That's where my mother's from. And I came to the States in the early 2000s to go to grad school. And professionally speaking, so I was an international student, so shout out to any international students out there. But I really used this moment in grad school to sort of pivot career-wise. I had started working in international diplomacy and just kind of had a realization of sorts during grad school that I wanted to try something different. And so I moved into the private sector. and worked in international banking in different countries, well, New York and London primarily, and then moved into the venture capital space. So that's within New York Life Ventures, we invest, we're more in contact with the startup ecosystem, if you will, from investing and partnering and so forth. But as Lan mentioned, I also had this hiatus where I was also exploring. I took a break in between. I was focusing on the family. I, volunteered with the FWA and worked more into the nonprofit sector. And the reason why really I joined the FWA was really when I started working in banking. I was the first person in my family that had moved, went abroad to study, wanted to start a career abroad as well. And I was also the first woman to actually go to explore a corporate career. So I heard so much about financial services, and there's not that many women out there, and the glass ceiling and all those kind of things you hear. So to me, it was really important that I build a network and really find other women that I could, just be inspired from within the financial services sector. So that's really how, first of all, the Financial Women's Association came to me, or I came to them. And really just this idea of giving back has always been just so powerful to me. So just combining those together was just a great fit for me with the FWA. And as Albana mentioned, I've taken on different roles of volunteering with the FWA throughout my career journey, but it's really, really been amazing growth and learning opportunities personally, but also professionally. So certainly one of the most engaging roles I took on was chairing membership and engagement, where I did meet Albana, because it just gave me an opportunity to meet with members, understand what their needs were, what were they looking for, with an organization like the FWA. So, and that's how we came to meet. But one little detail that Albana forgot to mention is that we have another commonality, is that we're two moms of children who are relatively the same age. So my daughter Julia is 10, and I have a son Gabriel who's 7. And Albana, you have 2 other ones as well, little rascals of your own who are in costumes today as well, right?
Definitely, yes. My son Leo, he's 9, and Emily is 6, so very close in age. And so, but how did we come to become accountability partners? Well, like I said, I joined FWA because I was looking to meet other women in finance. And then 2020 happened. And as you all know, a lot of us went through a lot of hardship. I actually lost my job during 2020. And, I've been reading this book right now, Life is in the Transitions by Bruce Feiler. And he talks about how life is, not linear anymore. And we have to accept that we're going to have between 4 and 5 life quakes in our life. And so literally I went through a life quake, 2 actually. So my boss, who was my biggest mentor, left in 2019, and then I lost my job in 2020. And so during that time, I really wanted to understand what I wanted to do with my life. What kind of leader did I want to be, and how do I want to show up in the world? What were my values? Did I even want to be in finance anymore? So I went through a journey of self-discovery, but I didn't do it alone. And so Marie-Hélène was there for me. I kind of poured my heart and soul with FWA, and I became actually a co-chair for membership and engagement with Marie-Hélène. And so the journey began. The 2 of us were meeting with members and lots of people during that time. This is the time when we actually met Lan and the community of 7. Got to meet a lot of people outside of my industry, or our industries really, and a lot of people in communication and marketing, which gave me a totally different perspective in life and in the career choices that I was making. And then I successfully made a transition into data and analytics eventually, but not before Marie-Hélène and I, because we both had the same goal. We both wanted to find our next roles and our next careers. That's when we created this mutual accountability partnership.
Yeah, and so I'm just going to touch on that because, from my personal standpoint, I said earlier on, I was going through sort of like this journey of self-discovery. I took a hiatus. I was with the family. As Albana mentioned, this all happened in 2020. COVID hit, right? We were at home. kids were at home. And from where I was standing, I was really in this mindset of testing and learning. I tried some entrepreneurial ventures like with short-term rentals, private lending. I was doing some contracting in the nonprofit space. But one of the things that I felt, this may resonate with some parents here, but like one of the things that was really comforting to me during this whole phase of testing and learning and trying to self-discover, as Albana mentioned, it was that I had a really, ironically, a really good structure at home with caring for the kids. And so that helped me to kind of crystallize in my mind what I wanted to do next. And as Albana mentioned, we were partnering on the membership and engagement side with the FWA, and that allowed us also to get to know each other a bit better. But it was also that moment where personally I discovered, there was George Floyd happening, there was all the movements on social justice, what companies were wanting to do to address that. There was a lot of this building of community that was very important in corporate America. And there was also a lot of women leaving the workforce, right, as we just touched on. And to me, I saw that almost like, given that I had a structure at home, I saw this as an opportunity for me. And so that's why I decided I'm going to look for a role full-time in the corporate sector again. So that was where Albana and I had that commonality. And we just realized, like, we have both a common goal and we have these, mutual, how do I say this? We just know what we're wanting to do. So then let's partner on this.
It also makes me think, like, job hunting is probably one of the loneliest things you can do just as an adult, right?
Yes.
Lonely, discouraging, the rejections. And I feel like having an accountability partner, just being able to talk to someone probably was really helpful. So if you guys can maybe explain a little bit more, what's the difference between an accountability partner and, let's say, a mentor or a coach? How is that different?
You want to take on that, Albana?
Sure, yeah, I can take that on. So an accountability partner is someone who it's usually a friend, typically a friend or someone that you feel comfortable with, that helps you stay on track with your goals, with your commitments and your actions. And they are there for emotional support, for motivation. This could be a short-term or a long-term relationship if it happens that it grows into a long-term relationship. But a mentor, the dynamics of that relationship are different. Usually a mentor is somebody who is more experienced, more knowledgeable than a mentee. They can provide advice from their experience so that you can grow personally and professionally. So the relationship is not equal per se, because you are looking up to a mentor and learning from that person instead of exchanging both ideas at the same level. So it's a more holistic relationship, and the mentor is there to guide you and focus and help you focus on a goal that you both have discussed, together. And then there is also a difference between, what a mentor is and what a coach is. And Marie-Hélène will touch upon what is that difference between having a mentor or a coach.
Yeah, so the coach, the way that we look at it is kind of more, first of all, he's a trained professional, right, in the subject matter, and really working more on a transactional basis, if you will, to help set and achieve goals. Where the accountability partner is also, just one more point on the coach. The goals can be short term, but can be also very long term, right? You hire a coach, and it's really oftentimes it's to look at very long-term goals as well. So whereas the accountability partner, the way that we look at it, it's that it's really for a very short term, helping to stay commitment and on track with a very specific goal that you've set yourself. We've actually taken this notion to another level, where we feel like accountability partnering is really an essential, very powerful tool. But the fact that we felt made it extremely successful in our experience was because we had that mutual goal that we wanted to achieve as well.
Exactly. And so just to add on that, just by talking and having conversations with each other, we coined this term, which is the MAP, mutual accountability partner, because we wanted to take this accountability a little bit to the next level. So the characteristics of the mutual accountability partnership, or MAP, are, three that we have identified so far. One, there is a common goal from both parties, from both the partners in this relationship. So the goal has to be a common goal, and you both agree on it. Two, you both are equal partners, which means that you're equal in the level of standing of where you are with your goals. It doesn't mean that one person could be more experienced than the other, but you both are, you treat each other equally. And then the third thing is having this mutual respect. I think respect and being kind to each other is a big part, especially, in a world where, frankly, I've seen where women, or people don't like to help each other, or there is this inadvertent competition between people. And so that has to stay away. There is always this mutual respect. We're not in competition with each other. We're here to help each other and have each other's backs. And I think that's a very important characteristic in having a mutual accountability partner.
So, I know you two found each other through the Financial Women's kind of association that you are a part of, but two questions. What qualities or characteristics should people who are watching this right now look for in a potential accountability partner? And second part of that question, which is kind of interrelated, how do you find them, right? So today, hopefully some of you guys will find each other through the comments and the chats if you're looking for accountability partner. But, what are the places that you can find like these partners?
Do you want to take that, Albana? I can give it a shot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, the first thing, and I love the fact that, Lan, you asked people in the comments to share, really what people are looking to get here on this show, because one thing that I did notice that there are a couple of people here who are looking to build their personal brand, and I think that's a really excellent starting point. When you see that commonality of the goal, that's a really good starting point to begin with. But when Albana was touching actually on the concept of mutual respect, being equal partners, I did want to highlight something here. She had great points to share about the characteristics of that, but it was also, we understood each other. We were both moms, we had both young children, and we also had that respect of, an understanding of what that means. So when we had set our schedule, right, agreeing together to get together every Friday morning, because that was the day that worked best, kids were not around, or it was early in the morning, there were not going to be any meetings or distractions. We held ourselves mutually accountable, to be there on time and to have an agenda ready and to not waste the time, right? To really have that respect, because we understood, again, more the bigger picture of where we were coming from. Does that make sense, Albana?
Yeah, no, exactly. I mean, we created this meeting session, which we called power meetings, because we are powerful women, and so are you. And we met every Friday at morning at 8 a.m. and we really talked about what is our vision, where are we with our goals, and how do we move it along into our job search. And then I also want to highlight a couple of things, because it takes a little bit of a different mindset when you're finding an accountability partner. And one of that is, one, you have to understand that change is constant, and you have to embrace change, because, as I mentioned, life is not linear. It's a non-linear life, and it will give you, things that you're not expecting. So having that constant change mindset and adapting to change, it's very important. Another characteristic is being proactive. You have to take the initiative to go out there and find an accountability partner, because they're not going to find you. You have to go and look for, the the communities and the people. It could be your best friend, it could be your husband, it could be your neighbor, it could be anyone, but you have to put yourself proactively out there and make sure that you are talking about what your goals are, so that other people listening can hear and say, oh, I have the same goals as you, and they can partner with you.
It's a great point. And I'll share an example. That was another accountability partnership that I formed here in Florida. So I relocated last year, and it's a very different lifestyle, of course, than New York City. To Lan's point, I wasn't moving a lot. I needed to get my body more active, so I took the initiative to sign up with the gym. And it was just not doing it what I needed to, because I was trying to go to the swimming pool, was just not motivated. And I just spoke out. I spoke out to, the friends I made during the classes that I took in the gym. And I was just sharing how I was really trying to motivate myself. And that's where one person at my gym said, oh, you've got to talk to Katie, because Katie actually is also a mom. Her kids go to the same school as your kids. And she was a former swimmer. So she's also trying to get in shape. And what did I do? I took her number. I reached out to her. I said, can you be my accountability partner? And I mean, it sounds so silly, but that's how it worked. And we are going swimming every Wednesday morning now in the swimming pool. So it really holds, again, it's about taking the initiative, just getting out there and actually daring to ask. Because what I was really surprised to hear about is when I messaged Katie and I said, hey, look, I'm trying to get motivated to go swimming once a week at least. And guess what she said? She's like, oh my gosh, me too. So it was just the perfect fit. So again, just not being shy to just throw yourself out there and just ask. The worst that can happen is just maybe someone saying no.
And it's so funny because like making friends as you're older becomes so much harder. Like I know when I go to school or I'm at the school bus stop for my daughter, I just feel so awkward. I'm like, like it's almost like you're dating again, and you have to kind of like train yourself to just kind of be out there, right? Because and a lot of that is just the stories you say in your head, right? That awkward, like what do I say next, right? But part of it is putting yourself out there, seeing kind of who you can kind of really click with, right? So what are some effective strategies for maintaining a successful accountability partnership over time? And how do you establish clear goals and expectations when partnering with someone for accountability? I know you guys had like this weekly call. What are some of the other tips or tricks you can kind of maybe give to people who are maybe thinking of launching their own kind of accountability partner?
Yeah, and I can chime in there. I think, accountability partners are not necessarily long-term partners, but they can be, because the goals are short-term. You have a goal, for example, finding your next job. That is a 3 to 6 months goal. Once you are done with that goal, the accountability partners either have to find another goal to focus on, or that relationship could just dissolve into just being friends, and you're no longer accountability partners, and you have to find someone else who has the same interest and goals as you do. So in our case, we were pretty lucky, because even once we both landed our jobs, we really wanted to continue this partnership. So we thought about it. Okay, what's the next goal in our list, to pursue? And we both wanted to get healthy. And so getting healthy included, doing some exercise on a regular basis. So it's interesting, because my goal after that was to run a marathon. I've always wanted to do it. I live in New York City. I see the marathon runners every year, and I really wanted to accomplish that goal. So Marie-Hélène and I used to get on a call almost every morning, 3 times a week. At 8 o'clock, after dropping our kids to school, we would get on a call and we would run separately, because we don't live close by. And so I was running in a park next to my house. She was running in the park next to her house, but while we were on the phone, because otherwise none of us would get the motivation to go running. It's a really challenging mindset to do it. So I think, if you continue the relationship, there has to be a mutual goal. That is an important thing. Having that common goal is very important. you have to be very goal focused, meaning you both have to agree that this is a goal that you're going to accomplish, and you have to be focused on it and not lose focus. I think sometimes it happens that, because it's a long-term goal, like a marathon, for example, for me was a very long-term goal. I had to train for a whole year. And I don't think we could have sustained that, because then Marie-Hélène moved to Florida and I was in New York, but she wanted to do swimming and I wanted to do running. So I think what happened is that we continued that because we committed to have that goal accomplished. So what I did, I would send text messages to Marie-Hélène every morning that I accomplished my running that morning, or she would check on me and say like, hey, did you do your run this morning? So just having that person check on you every day makes you want to do it and keeps you accountable. So there are so many ways, once you commit, there's so many ways to keep each other accountable, even though you're not physically located in the same place.
To come back to your question, Lan, about like what we did, right? Like to your point, we had set up a structure where we said, let's meet up regularly, right? To achieve that goal of landing a job. So we set these meetings every Friday morning for an hour, and we committed to that. So, it happened a few times where I was having a situation, but I organized my life around the fact that this was a critical meeting for me to reach that goal. And therefore, if there were any setbacks or issues around the timing, I would do everything I possibly could to make sure I was going to be there all the time. We also set specific agendas, right, ahead of the meeting to understand after each meeting, okay, what did we get out of this meeting? What are our goals for the next one? So that we really kind of created this, not only a cadence, but also just basically the virtues of compounding, right? Like you're progressing. And we always left time, right, in the beginning of the meeting to give a summary of how that week went, because we would also talk about our setbacks. And I think that was really critical for us. As you said, right, it's a lonely journey. So part of that loneliness comes with just, getting demoralized, depressed, because, you're going through setbacks. And it was going through just getting those setbacks out of the way and processing it and actually looking at it as the learning journey that came with it. What did we learn from that? And how are we going to move forward? So it was also not just like the goal itself, it was just also in terms of the mental strength that we built with each other by keeping that frequency, that cadence and momentum.
I love that. I want to read some before I ask my next question, and I'm going to open it for questions shortly. So if you have any questions in the Zoom Live audience, raise your hands, or if you are on the live stream, let me know in the chat. But I want to kind of highlight some people who are looking for mutual accountability partners. So Katie Belota would like an accountability partner to help her stay track with direct sales gigs. So if you want to find Katie on LinkedIn and you are interested in kind of helping each other with direct sales, then please connect with her. Andrew B would like an accountability partner to keep her on the loop when it comes to improving her communication skills. Jonathan has an accountability partner, but wants to learn skills that would help us both improve and grow together. So that's kind of interesting. So maybe you might have a same goal. Let's say you are want to kind of focus on your personal brand. You might want to connect with other people who are writers, or someone who is very good in videography, or someone who's good in social media, and you come together and you guys kind of like Voltron, right, help each other with your skill set. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you might have to be completely equal. Maybe you have something to kind of teach each other. And on the live stream on LinkedIn, I don't Gisette, sorry if I'm mispronouncing your name, wants to start her nursing career and want to connect with other people who are nursing. Jennifer Muhammad wants to connect with other Black women and small business owners. Ibrahim wants to become a company secretary, wants to connect with other folks on that aspect as well. Kate Banula wants to find an accountability partner whom she doesn't personally know, but eventually will during the process. Awesome. So look, when you guys are watching this on LinkedIn live stream or in the Zoom audience, and I want you guys to connect with each other, because you might meet an amazing kind of friend on the along the way. If anyone has a question, raise your hand. Otherwise, I'm going to ask my next question. Have you encountered, and this is kind of to Albana and Marie, Claire, so I don't know who wants to kind of answer this. Have you encountered any challenges or drawbacks in your accountability partnership, and how did you address them?
Yeah, that is definitely a great question. So I will say that at some point we had another person join our accountability group. And so it was 3 of us at some point. And I would say that for the relationship to be completely successful, I think you need 2 is the magic number. 3 is okay, but not always successful. So, you know, I would say it's a better relationship if it's just 2 people in that relationship, because I think it's easier to hold you know, each other accountable. Now, there were periods of times where, you know, we're kind of done with our goals, and we did take a break from this accountability partnership. But I think because, you know, we've developed this friendship and we came back to it again. And so it's okay to take a break from your accountability partner for a period of time. And it's okay to get back to it when you both discover that you still have things in common. I don't know, Marie-Hélène, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's a great point. You know, certainly, you know, I'm seeing a very different dynamic from the discipline, the rigor that was in place with the setup and accountability partnership with Albana versus with Katie. And the reason being that I travel a lot more now. So when it comes to, you know, making sure, and she does as well. So that's more of it's definitely a challenge that we've encountered. Is just, you know, working, you know, we've got kids and all the activities that happen with our kids and, you know, life. So we've taken more of an accountability partnership that's more flexible in nature, right? When we meet up. So we make sure it's every week still, but it's not necessarily going to be that specific day of the week, because again, we've got these challenges with just life. But we do make sure that it's happening every week, right? When we're back, we just coordinate, like, when are you back? Okay, let's do it on a weekend then. And we just organize at home just to make sure that someone can take care of the kids so that we can do our swims. So yeah, but that's certainly one of the challenges that I find. So it's kind of like, you know, flexing a little bit the muscle of, you know, making a bit more agile with the accountability itself.
And I know you two are kind of thinking about writing a book possibly, or doing kind of some project about these mutual accountability partners. And you had a question actually for the folks who are watching this via the live stream or in the Zoom audience. Do you want to kind of ask your question?
Sure. Yeah, no, sure. I mean, listen, this accountability partnership is not a novel concept that we invented. It's been there forever. We just happen to fall into it and become accountability partners together. But and I happened to present about it at another event. And it was amazing to hear how people from the audience just chimed in with their own personal journeys and accountability partnerships. And it was really great to hear different success stories from when people partner together. And so just by talking to people, I think it's a great opportunity to learn from each other. And we would love for anyone who wants to get in touch with us to tell us their success stories, their accountability partnership stories. And sometimes you don't really realize you have an accountability partner until like somebody says, you know, talks about it. And then you realize that you do have someone or more than one person who holds you accountable. You just have to, you know, put it in words and formalize it. So we would love to hear your stories if you want to reach out to us.
Awesome. I love that. Do we have any questions from the folks who are in the live Zoom audience or anything? Not? No? I do actually kind of want to show you something. So in the comments in the LinkedIn Live, someone was writing that they're writing a book or a memoir, and they wanted to find an accountability partner in the book writing process. And I want to, you know, there's a mutual accountability partner, it's a one-on-one, but there's also, I just want to kind of outline communities that are already out there. And I actually want to show you guys one of them. And this is my friend Hussein Albati created this, this one community, and it's on Circle. Let me share it with you right now. So this is the power of this kind of community. There's like 200 different authors in this community who are just kind of helping each other out. And I wanted to actually show you, I mentioned I was kind of writing my book, and I was deciding on the cover, and I literally was stuck. I emailed a whole bunch of friends. I think I emailed Albana. Like I was emailing everyone. I was like, what? And I was so stuck. And so I posted this on this community site, Rising Authors, and I got 40 comments from different authors. And amazing. The feedback was great. And what I ended up doing was I did a spreadsheet, and because I was deciding between the blue cover and the yellow cover. I kind of had eliminated this cover just because people either loved it or hated it. And I ended up deciding on the yellow cover because of this community group, where literally got 40 responses. And I was like, okay, 30 liked the yellow comment and 20. And I was like, okay, I made my decision because I was stuck literally for months. But, in his community, there's like authors can introduce themselves. They can do accountability parts. And I actually want to show you, I'm so excited. I haven't launched this yet, but you guys are kind of hopefully going to be a part of this. I started a community page for Community of 7 that I'm going to launch next year, but probably started with some beta people. But I actually created an accountability partner section. So if you're looking for accountability partner, or if you want to celebrate your win, or you want to showcase something that you're working on. So some of these communities, if you can't find it in the real world, or through LinkedIn or something, there might be in a community that's already out there, and then you can, in those communities, find accountability partners.
Absolutely, yeah. And actually, someone in the chat there mentioned about improving communication skills, and that's something certainly that I've been really working on personally from my perspective, professionally. Like, it's just so important. And I joined Toastmasters, and to your point, Lan, like, it's a community, right? And that's the goal. It's to elevate each other by improving your public speaking skills. And through that community, I found my mentor, right? I call him my mentor, who helps me when I'm preparing my speeches, just to give the feedback and keep me going. So spot on with that comment. Thanks for sharing.
So kind of as we wrap up, what is the one thing, I'm going to start with you first, because you're on the screen right now. What is the one piece of advice you would give to the folks who are kind of watching this, who is thinking of creating a mutual accountability partner or whatnot? What's a one takeaway from this call?
Yeah, I would just say, just be daring to ask. That would be my big advice. It's just be open to sharing what you're trying to do with people around you, and just dare to ask. If you found someone that you feel you would really build a good accountability partnership with, just ask.
I love that.
Yeah, and just to piggyback on that, I actually wrote a LinkedIn post a while back, because I have this thing that I say, be uncomfortable with being comfortable. Because once you get uncomfortable with your life, with your job, with anything in life, that's when you become kind of lose track of what's important in your life. And so get uncomfortable when you see yourself getting comfortable, and just go out there and reach out to people, find people, talk, put yourself out there. And that's the only way to accomplish your goals, I think, through people. You cannot do it alone.
I love that. And kind of speaking of reaching out to people, I put up this slide where you can kind of reach out to Albana and Marie-Hélène if you're thinking of creating an accountability group, or if you want to actually share your story about, accountability partner, of how they've, it's changed your life. If you can kind of share it as well. And maybe you can be in their future book or project that they're working on, but you can find them here on LinkedIn. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming today. I think this is kind of really and powerful. Like I've actually been working on, I'm so used to doing things alone. And I think part of that is a cultural thing of just that, independence, of like kind of the lone wolf kind of mentality, of not depending on people, of moving fast. And the thing is, it might work in the short term, but you're going to hit a wall at some point, right? Or you're not going to be like the whole thing with notion of motivation, like even exercise, right? You're motivated for the first week, you get excited, you go every day, but then you need something to kind of get you there further. And I think this whole notion of having an accountability partner, especially when you're starting a business and you have the same goals, it's so powerful. So I just really want to, thank you two for joining us today. And, everyone, thank you for joining today's call. If you can unmute yourself, and a round of applause for these ladies, Albana and Marie-Hélène. Thank you so much. And I hope you guys find your accountability partners. And it's kind of like they said, just ask, right? Just ask. Okay. Thanks,
so
everyone.
much.
Thanks, Lan. Thanks, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.